Hello there, welcome YouTubers to Game of Thrones Season 6 Episode 2 Home Review. So, before I start, spoilers. Spoilers. If you have not seen Episode 2 of Season 6 of Game of Thrones, please go watch it. There are major spoilers in the storyline right now, so your last warning. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay. First of all, I got my hair cut just for the resurrection of Jon Snow, right? Man, I'm excited. So I'm working a little bit backwards now. Overall, this episode is very satisfying. Very satisfying. However, I do feel that it is mostly predictable, which is because my standard for Game of Thrones is so high. Therefore, I feel like that. But overall, as an episode, I think it's damn near perfect, and I loved it. So, starting from the end, like I said, I'm just too excited to go through everything before I talk about Jon Snow. But yes, he came back to life. This has been a prediction that everybody had since the end of season 5 that the Red Woman, Melisandre, is going to resurrect him, right? And it did happen that way. It is very satisfying because, you know, overall Jon Snow's story since season 1 wasn't that interesting up to the end of season 4, where he had that huge battle on the watch. And then Ygritte died, and then in season 5 he fought against the White Walkers, and he brought back the wildlings, and his story was getting very interesting. And then he died. So because of that, I felt very upset that, you know, his story ended so abruptly right when it got really interesting. But now he's back to life. I don't know where they're gonna go with this. I'm very eager to know if he's gonna be the same Jon Snow. Is he gonna forgive everybody that wronged him, or is he gonna go all out just violent and, you know, with a vengeance or whatnot? So we gotta wait and see. You know, I can't wait. I'm really excited. As far as the way they went about it, I was a bit disappointed, just slightly, you know, because it was very straightforward. I mean, it was set up in a way that once everybody leave the room, he was gonna wake up, and then he woke up. I was watching this with my niece, and then she brought up this one fact that I thought would have made it very interesting, which is they tried to resurrect him, and then it didn't work. So they did not want to risk him coming back as a White Walker or as a Walker. So they would try to burn him and then just leave him there to burn, and they would all go to bed or whatnot. They would come back in the morning to see his body unburned, and then he wakes up. You know, so that would back up the theory that he may be a Targaryen, and also the fact that the resurrection worked, and that would have been straight up so compelling. But they didn't go about it like that. It was just Melisandre. You know, she was very down. You know, she was very she hit the bottom basically, and then she was just trying whatever to hope that it worked, and it seemed like it didn't work, and then it worked, and he woke up. You know, that's it. But I would have preferred them to do it in some other ways that would have surprised the audience, which they didn't. But anyway, who cares? I got my hair cut for it. I love it. Jon Snow's back. Yeah, man. So we got my excitement of Jon Snow out the way. Let's go back and review the actual episode. The episode began with a flashback. Now, just to let you know, I am 100% against flashback in movies, in televisions, whatsoever. I hate it. I think it takes away from the actual storyline, and it's a bit of a cheat. However, the way they handle the flashback in this episode, it wasn't really a flashback. It was Bran Stark. So he's been looking for the three-eyed raven, this basically the whole series, and now they're going back to his storyline. Basically, he was getting trained by the three-eyed raven. I guess he's taking him to a different time continuum, so he can check out, different pathways and whatnot. But they brought him back to Winterfell. Man, I was so excited. I hate flashback, like I said, but this is one of the most exciting thing I have ever seen. I had to pause the show because I had it on a DVR. I jumped up and I was like, yes! The reason for it is because you get to see a character that has been mentioned numerous times, right? So in his flashback, Bran is at Winterfell and he see his father, Ned Stark, training his younger brother, Benjen Stark, his uncle. And they were fighting, and then next thing you know, you see this girl on horseback, this young girl riding on horseback, coming into the castle. And I'm like, that's Lyanna Stark, right? So I'm like, finally, we see Lyanna, and she's like, awesome, she's tomboyish. She reminds me a lot of Arya, or Arya reminds me a lot of her. And with that, you see so many potentials, because now they could explore the storyline of Rhaegar. I would love to see how he was like, and how Lyanna fell in love, and with Brandon Stark, Ned Stark's older brother, and all of that. And the minute I saw that, I was so elated. I keep hearing about this storyline, I never see it. So right now, Bran's story, if they continue to do this kind of flashback to the past, I would love it. I mean, he's probably one of the top storyline right now just because of that, right? So right after that, we get to King's Landing. Now, this here is, I mean, I can't even remember the episode in order right now. I'm just telling you what stuck with me, like what resonated with me the most. Like I said, Jon Snow's resurrection, the appearance of Lyanna Stark, and now going to King's Landing. And the reason why I brought this up is because of the mountain. Oh, I believe his name is Sir Robert Strong now. So he's been resurrected as a Frankenstein kind of. So there's this guy, right? This drunk guy in the street talking a lot of shit, right, about Queen Cersei. He was like, yeah, she was doing her walk of shame and she was butt naked. She looked at me and she saw how big my John was, so she got really excited. I know she wanted me, and then he went off alone by himself into an alley to take a piss, right, take a leak. And he's like, sss. And next thing you know, the mountain walked up to him and he was like, bam, just push his head against the wall, one head, like, dang, you see his brand matters splattered on the wall. I'm like, holy cow, right? And then so that happened, and I was like, if that's what the mountain can do, I cannot wait until he's just unleashed and go all out. What brings us to the next scene, right? Is the funeral of Marcella Lannister, Baratheon. So that's Cersei's daughter. She died. They had a funeral, and Tormund, her son, refused to let her go to the funeral, which is like, dang, that's kind of messed up. That's her daughter, And so Cersei is trying to go to the funeral, and a group of soldiers that Tormund sent to her dorm or her palace, and it was blocking her way. And you see the mountain is just about to like obliterate them, and then Cersei is like, you know what, forget it, let me go back. But the reaction of the soldiers knowing that they are about to face the mountain was priceless. It was just so intense. Like the build-up was incredible, and I'm like, I cannot wait to see the mountain in action. One of the pet peeves that I have though with the King's Landing story is well, the next scene is with Jaime Lannister at the funeral, looking at Marcella's body. She's gonna get buried or whatnot, and then what's his name, the High Sparrow showed up, and Jaime was like, he looks like he's about to kill him. And they had like a little confrontation, Jaime is like, you did all that to my sister. you humiliated her, this and that. And then the High Sparrow's like, you want to kill me? Kill me. So it looked like Jaime was about to kill him, but then all this Faith militant guy, the dude with the tattoos, showed up inside of the set, the place where they had the funeral. And then Jaime's like, oh shit, he's surrounded, so he decided not to go through with it. But the thing that bothered me is that he is the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. And King Tormund was in there with him. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's like the President of the United States, right? And he's the head of the Secret Service. So they go in there alone? No guards, no soldiers, no one to watch the perimeter. I mean, it looks like the king just walk around by himself, or Jaime is by himself. But he's on duty. He's the Lord Commander. There should be people around him, like soldiers or whatnot to protect them. So I didn't buy that. I thought that was like bullshit. The Faith militant just come and go, and I'm like, I mean, I know they have power, but still, there's still a government there. There's still a king and the Kingsguard, and obviously King Tormund do have power and soldiers. He sent a group of his people to stop Cersei from visiting the funeral. So I didn't get that. You know what I mean? But aside from that, it was good. It was great. It was just my pet peeve. So going back to the watch now, we picked up where we left off, which is Sir Alistair Thorne came to Sir Davos, and they all trying to protect Jon Snow's body. And he came. It's nighttime, and he was like, "It's time. Give me an answer." So Sir Davos was like, "All right, guys, this is it." They look like they about to fight, because Sir Davos knew he was gonna die. They had like 5 people in the room, and then Sir Alistair pretty much had the whole watch backing him up. So things get very exciting after this. Right when they break through the door to go inside to kill Sir Davos and all Jon Snow's friend and whatnot, all you hear is BAM! Right? So you're like, what? So you look out, and then like the Castle Black's door, I guess, is just bust open, and here comes a giant. He's like, dong, dong, right? And then one of the Nice Watch guys trying to fight him, so he grabbed him, spin him around, and psh, he splashed him against the wall, and he's just like splattered, broke into pieces, And then Tormund Giantsbane, the big wildling that Jon Snow saved, he came in he's like, what? And then one guy came up to him, was like, pew, pew, 2 hit, bam, killed him. And then everybody was like, oh, I'm done, I ain't gonna mess with that. They dropped their sword, and then Sir Alistair pretty much got cornered and caught. So that part of the story was very satisfying as well. Now, which brings us to another very interesting storyline in Marine, and I'm telling you, I love Tyrion and Varys together more and more. They are hilarious. So Tyrion went into the palace, and he cracked like a gay joke, and it's funny because Grey Worm is right there too. So he's like, I'm sorry, man, I didn't mean to say all gay people. I mean, I make gay jokes about him, Varys, and he makes funny joke about short people like me. And Varys like, I don't make fun of you because you're short. But he's like, and then Tyrion's like, yeah, but you think it. And Varys like, anyway, so Tyrion came up with this ridiculous idea that he's gonna free the dragon and feed the dragon and befriend the dragons. I mean, the ones that Daenerys locked up in the crypt. So he went down there with Varys, right? He's like, I'm gonna feed them. I'm gonna be their friends. So they walking in together, and then Varys was like, he must be thinking, right? I ain't gonna touch it. You want the dragons? You go. So Tyrion was just like, all right. And then, I swear, Tyrion was gonna pee in his pants. Like when the dragons came out, and then he unlocked them, and he let them, you know, just kind of like run free a little bit. No, not like all the way, but he unlocked the chain around their neck, and then he came up to Varys, and he was like, the next time I have an idea like that, punch me in the face. And I'm like, I thought it was just so funny, man. Cause Tyrion is tiny, you know, he's just a little guy, and the dragons came out, and he was like, oh shit, what did I do, yo? What the heck did I do? So this brings us back to the North with Ramsay Snow, or Ramsay Bolton, as they would call it now. This is one of those satisfying moments I told you about that I thought was also very predictable, because for like a bunch of episodes now, almost a whole season, last season, and you know, the first episode in this season also, Roose Bolton has been teasing Ramsay Snow, threatening him, saying that if his wife Walder Frey, his wife would what's her name, Water, I don't know, but you know, the one that he married, the big girl, had a son, then Ramsay's position would be very shaky, you know, be compromised. So he's been using that as a bargaining chip with Ramsay Snow. Every time Ramsay messed up, Roose would pretty much say, well, you keep messing up, if I have a newborn son, he's gonna be a legitimate Bolton, and you gotta go. So, you know, not surprising. They were all in the room just talking, and the Maester comes in, and he was like, oh, Lord Bolton, your wife just gave birth to a baby boy. And then you look at Ramsay Snow, and you're like, oh shit, it's going down. Something's gonna happen. You know, Ramsay is gonna kill his father. So, you know, Roose was like, hey, even though I got a son, you're still my firstborn. And then Ramsay came up and be like, thank you for saying that. It means a lot to me. And then he killed Roose Bolton. And then after that, he calls Roose Bolton's wife, and then kill her and the baby. You know, he let the dogs feed on them. It's great. Right, the story was going that way. I've seen it coming, and I know for a fact that Ramsay is not gonna, you know, just stand for it. I hate Roose Bolton. He killed Robb Stark at the Red Wedding, and I wanted him to die. But the way they did it, it was very straightforward. It's like, oh yeah, he have a son. You know, Ramsay is gonna get really mad, and Ramsay's gonna kill him. Watch. So when he had the son, Ramsay got really mad, and then Ramsay killed him. I was thinking Roose would be smarter than that. Like, he would be the one to kill Ramsay if he know he has a son or something like that. But it didn't play it out like that. It was good. You know, like I said, I wanted that character to die for a long time just because of what he did to Robb. And I wanted something interesting to happen between them. You know, there's been a lot of back and forth. Like, yeah, you're not my son, you're my son. If I have another son, then you're not going to be the heir to my throne and whatnot. And I think resolving this as quickly as episode 2 leaves so much room for much more interesting development later on. It was satisfying, but like I said, it was very straightforward, and it wasn't surprising in a way that Game of Thrones would be. Now, what is surprising is Theon Greyjoy deciding to go back to the Iron Island Pike, and we get to see the Iron Island again. I thought we were done with the storyline of Greyjoy, but I'm thinking they're going to play a big role in this season. So we see Balon Greyjoy back at the Iron Island. He's good, you know, he's just talking, and his daughter comes in and be like, you know what, you lost your son, you're not doing anything about it, we should go save him, this and that. And they had like a little fight, and pretty much he was saying that, you know, she was trying to imply that he's too old, you know, he's not doing anything, it's time for something new to happen, right? So he's like, well, forget you, when you become king, you can do whatever, but right now I'm still king, so I'm the man. So he walks out to one of those like connecting bridges between the pikes, and I'm like, yo, this scene is scary because it looks like he's gonna fall over those bridges anytime. And out of nowhere, you see a guy in a hood. Right, he walks out. It's all raining, and he take off his hood, and the guy was like, "Brother." So I'm like, "Oh shit, Balon has a brother, right?" So I'm like, "That's great because now you're gonna have a lot more dynamic in the Greyjoy story." And then soon enough, he picks up Balon and push him over, throw him over the bridge, and he dies. So right now on the Iron Island, they're looking for a new heir. I guess they're gonna vote to see who's gonna be a new king on the Iron Island. So I'm very interested to see where that story is gonna go. Last but not least, we get to see Arya again, right? And she's still blind, and she's getting more training. And this time, the guy with no face, he came back and he tried to train her. Not much is going on in the Arya storyline. It's pretty much just more training, you know. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I mean this whole episode is resolve a lot of long-standing storyline from all the other seasons, and also was building up so much for this season and maybe possible future seasons, and it's great. Like I said, you know, I nitpick on little like thing like the logistics of a Lord Commander of Kingsguard going everywhere alone with the king with no soldiers behind him. I didn't buy that. I'm also not really happy with how straightforward some of the storyline are. Like, it's so predictable. But then again, it's Game of Thrones. They may make you think that this is the big reveal, and then they'll have something more later. So I'm waiting on that. But overall, this episode is great. Like, I would give it a 5, but I couldn't because of the small things. I give it a 4.5, but then that rounds up to the 5 anyway. So season 6 of Game of Thrones, episode 2, titled Home, is amazing, and I freaking love it. So 5 out of 5.